291-5143 for more information.
Okay, sorry. All right, Galen, Unold is on the phone. I'm just distracted by everything. Galen is on the phone from LifeSouth Community Blood Center. Good morning, Galen. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Larry, Robin. How are y'all?
Good. And the end result? Did your son pass the test?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
he did.
Good.
Woo, congratulations.
Good. He was happy with that, huh?
No, nobody was happier than he was.
Oh, good for him.
And where are you right now?
I'm in Ocala. I got a dentist appointment this morning, so
Oh.
I'll be leaving here in a minute or so.
All right. Okay. All right. In a minute. So can you stay with us?
No. I just have to get in the car. No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I can do the whole segment.
Okay. So today, and we do have a whole segment, no 20 after today, and I'm glad of that because I have a pretty cool segment for you about winter. But then this other thing came up, but I wanted to make sure we got this out of the way first because it's more along the lines of what you do with LifeSouth. Okay? Okay, so let's see, Robert, what was the story you had? You had a story about blood giving, right?
Oh, yeah. For Puerto Rico, One Blood had sent out in a press release said they were requesting donors because they need to send blood down to Puerto Rico.
Okay, there was that one. And then there was this one, the story of the troops that were being deployed to Iraq. Were all given a questionnaire, and one of the questions was, do you have type O blood? They wanted to know which ones had type O. So they were somehow separated. So maybe you could explain why they would do that. And then before we wrap up the blood segment, I have one more blood thing to tell you before we talk about winter. So why would they do that? Why would they ask? Wouldn't they know that in advance, the military?
Well, what they're doing is they're getting them to probably donate once they're in country, right? So because they have their own blood system within the military, and so what they'll do is they'll tell them, hey, come donate now, and that way they just have it. They have their blood type, it's on their dog tag, but the people in charge don't necessarily know it.
So do they freeze it?
That makes sense.
Do they freeze it, Galen?
They can. It just depends on when they need it and for what they need it for. So they can, but I'm not really sure if they will or not. It's just it's time consuming, and it's not as effective if you freeze it. The red cell.
All right. So, and the other thing before we get into the winter thing, I just wanted you to hear this and let everybody else hear this. This is almost unbelievable, and I don't know if it's because of the earthquakes. I don't know if it's because of the deployment, but if you go on the news feature of Google right now, or at least it was like 2 hours ago, all I did was I printed up the headlines. Ready?
Yeah.
So out of News 3VL, which is the Las Vegas something, says Las Vegas blood providers call on donors to help critical blood shortage. Out of KFOX in El Paso, Texas, Vitalent Blood Bank reports critical shortage. If you go to San Bernardino County Sun, that's the newspaper, Inland Blood Bank, out of blood. Let's see, another one. Okay, some of these are needing, let's see. In Kentucky, in WYMT out of Lexington, Kentucky struggles with urgent need for local blood donations. WLOS2, whatever that is, maybe Los Angeles, Red Cross calls for blood donations. Out of WYMT News, blood products refused for dying mother. Oh, blood products refused for dying mother. Wow, I wonder why that is. Out of Jackson, Tennessee, WBBJ TV, New Year, New You blood drive, critical shortages. WEAR TV, let's see, blood center encouraging people to donate blood during low supply. Orland Park, blood donations necessary. Let's see. And it goes on and on. I got 2 pages of these. These are just headlines. Be the Hero blood drive begins January 15th. KAITY, whatever that is. So it's like what you tell us every day about our local circumstance is everywhere. The whole country has the same song, but they don't. I don't know. I mean, this is really amazing to me to see all these stories that almost sound similar to the story you have.
Yeah, it's again, and I have friends all over the country that work at blood centers, and it's the worst that we can remember. It's not the hurricane, it's not the weather. It's just sheerly donations are down and usage is skyrocketing.
I wonder why.
That's really the cause.
I wonder why donations are down, though.
That's a good question. That's something we're really trying to figure out. I mean, our population's changing, right? I don't think that's a shock to anyone. And the largest population group, the millennials, are right there at that point where they're not in the best position to donate because they usually have young families, they have a job. They're the most strapped for time right now. And so our biggest population group, which was the baby boomers, are aging. And so we're in this really weird flux. And the Gen X, which is me, we're just tiny. We're just a very, very tiny generation. School donations are way down because of a rule that the FDA put in that we can only have a certain number of donations per year with kids under the age of 18, and that has really, really impacted us because of anemia. So there's just some real strains on the blood supply right now. It's not just one thing; it's 100 little cuts.
Right.
And that's not due to LifeSouth Community Blood Centers being inaccessible, because you go to the schools, you go to the businesses, you have the on-site brick and mortar buildings. You always put on your social media where the blood mobiles are going to be in different parts of the county. So you guys do a fabulous job doing that and encouraging people to give.
We certainly try. There's no doubt about that. Again, it's just been a real grind for the last year, and the use of O negative is scary. So 6% of the population, somewhere between 6 and 7%, depending on which study you look at, uses O neg or has O neg type blood. Our usage right now is somewhere between 14 and 15%. So that means out of 100 donations, of transfusions, 14 of them are O neg. But we're only able to get O negative blood from 7% of the population. So that's a real scare for us right now. How do we overcome that? And it's the hospitals. Every time you see one of these, what we call freestanding EDs, like HCA is just putting them everywhere, where there are these walk-in clinics, walk-in emergency rooms. Every one of those has at least 2 O negatives for what they call emergency release.
Oh.
Every helicopter, every ambulance is going to the point where they want O neg. There are some cities now where policemen are carrying O negative blood in their car, and part of me is like, that's fantastic if it saves lives, right? That's the purpose. The other half is like, well, where's this O negative blood going to come from? And that's really honestly what we're battling with every single day.
Wow. Well, we can only do what we can do, and you've been, you should have 10, 12, 15 trophies on the wall, or just plaques or something, because of the hard work you do to make sure that we all get that message. I don't know anybody who ever does like you do. I would hope that if there was a map showing the percentage of people that we would have a large number right in our area, and we could attribute it to the work you do. I'm not trying to pat you on the back. I'm just telling you the truth. I don't know. I'd never heard of anybody doing it on a daily basis like you do it.
No, you're phenomenal.
No, nobody, and nobody else that I talk to a lot of people. Nobody does it either. I tell people all the time, you don't get in this business because you want to get rich. You don't do this because you think it's easy because it's a nonprofit. You do this because there's somebody on the other end of every effort that we make that goes home and goes back to their loved ones because of what we do.
That's right. Yeah.
And you may never meet them. Odds are you won't. It's impossible for us to meet every patient that we touch, but that's what has to get us up in the morning. That's what has to get us motivated. And we have to continue to just do what we think is right. And our communities are incredibly supportive of our efforts. And I mean, we couldn't do it without them, obviously. But, we just have to keep fighting.
Yeah, so anybody who has a computer, you go to Google, type on the news button, just type in the word blood, just the word blood. There's going to be some stories that have nothing to do with blood donations. Or if you put blood donations or blood donor, you're going to see just all that. But just put the word blood. It's unbelievable how many places in this country are right now going to their local media asking them to put out the word. Galen does it every day. Whether we have a 4-day supply or a half-day supply, he's on the radio every day.
Exactly.
So, and so it makes us proud because you chose this station to do it on.
So you guys gave me the opportunity there, and that's what I'm proud of. So, yeah.
So anyway, so how is the blood supply right now? And then
we are hurting, Larry. Let me be very clear. We're in emergency need of everything. We need O. We need A. We need platelets. We just need people to get out there, give the gift of life, and donate blood. That is the bottom line.
That important announcement is made possible by Palm Garden of Ocala and Penn Flooring. Galen does this every day, and he couldn't do it if it wasn't for them. So we need to make sure we thank them. If Galen was, it's kind of a team if you think about it. It's got to be the radio station. It's got to be the person who knows what he's talking about, like Galen, and willing to be on the air every day too. I mean, it's a little bit of. I mean, you probably would rather just drive, not having to put up with this. Because I do bring some silly things to the table.
I'd like to be able to call in and the phone to work.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't ask me why. Hey, Hugh got it figured out. Hugh couldn't get through, and now he can. You have to ask him what he did.
It's a lateral move, I think.
Yeah, his phone.
In, you're out.
I don't understand it either. But anyway, Palm Garden of Ocala, thank you so much. Everybody else, if you could just go there and thank them, if nothing else, thank them for doing this. And then take a tour while you're there, or get a cookie. They have nice cookies.
Yeah, they do. They're good.
Palm Garden is a skilled nursing health and rehabilitation center. So skilled nursing, 2 words you need to know. If you need to know where they are, they're at 2700 Southwest 34th Street, right here in Ocala, just not too far from where we broadcast here at the mall. Their website is palmgardenofocala.com. Penn Flooring, thank them as well. They put the flooring in on WOCA, and it's beautiful. It's durable. It was put in professionally. It was put in quickly. I remember when they put it in, it was like done in no time. And they can do the same thing for you at your home or office. They are at 1201 Southwest 17th Street. Their website is pennflooring.com. All right, now for the light thing, the fun thing, and I don't know because.
This cool thing, I've not heard of it before.
Okay, these are the natural phenomena that only happen in winter. Okay, now Robin grew up in Wisconsin. I grew up in New York. I don't ever remember frozen bubbles of methane. Have you ever heard of this before?
Frozen bottles of methane. That's a fart gone bad, isn't it?
Bubbles, not bottles, bubbles.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Bubbles of methane.
Yeah.
Methane is a fart, right? I mean, that's
what I thought. I thought the same thing.
Like cows farting too much.
That's what they say. Yeah, but this.
Right?
But this is from the bottom of a lake that's frozen over. There will be these frozen bubbles.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube and type this in: frozen bubbles of methane. Kids, what they do is they take an ice pick, they put a little hole in the bubble, and then they light it.
Yeah.
Of course. That sounds like something I would do.
Oh my gosh! And of course, with YouTube, one kid sees it, and then 2 kids do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then 2 kids see it, and then 4 kids do it.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to say, though, my children and their friends, they loved, when they were on the commode and they had to do that, fart.
Right.
They would take matches in there with them and light them.
Okay, you gotta see this video.
I mean, that's what children do.
Listen to this.
Do your sons do that, Galen?
They're past that. I mean, everybody's done a blue dart in their life. You're not a boy if you haven't done a blue dart.
A blue dart. I never did
That's
a
what
blue
it's called,
dart.
Larry.
What?
That's what it's called.
I had never
You've
heard
never heard
that.
that?
Nope, something new for me. I never heard of a frozen bubble of methane. I never heard of a blue dot. But anyway, listen to this fun one. There's a video on YouTube. Father and son. The son is the son that has his voice hasn't even changed. You can't see him. He's the one holding the camera, and he says, and his voice hasn't even changed. That's how you know how young he is. He goes, Dad, watch this. I'm gonna punch a hole in this thing. I want you to smell what comes out of this bubble. So the father doesn't know what the heck this is about. So he pumped a hole in it. The father puts his nose to it. Goes, oh my God! It smells like ass.
Wow.
That was his expression.
Oh, that's funny.
That's a funny expression in itself. And then the boy says, Dad, you got your lighter? Yeah. Light it. Watch what happens. And the father lights it. You gotta go to YouTube. Look for
that funny?
Frozen bubbles of methane. Okay.
Wow. Cool.
So that's something that only happens in winter. And then there's the Niagara Falls freezing. Niagara Falls freezes. When it freezes, the water actually falls behind the ice.
And that's happening now.
Is it?
I think I saw a picture of it on the news.
I didn't know.
Happening now.
Huh.
And
Never heard of that.
another thing is thunder snow. Thunder snow happens when the thunderstorms create snow, not rain. I never heard
that's cool.
I never heard of that either.
No, grew up there all my life.
Okay.
I thought we called that a blizzard.
Yeah, there you go.
I never heard thunder in a blizzard.
No.
All right. It's been so long
You
since
did thunderstone.
thunder snow, yeah. All right. And then there's the hail glacier. It can hail any time of the year, but in winter it'll pile up. So you have a hail glacier. Then there's the nor'easter. We've heard of the nor'easter before, so that's something new. And then there's the bomb cyclone. Have you heard of the bomb cyclone?
No, I have not.
The bomb cyclone is also known as bombogenesis. It occurs when the pressure of a storm drops 24 millibars in 24 hours and produces snow. A bomb cyclone. Robin, have you ever seen freezing fog?
No. Never have seen that. If I have, I wouldn't have known it had a name. I would have just looked at it and just knew it was a natural thing for living in Wisconsin.
If the temperature is right and the ground is frozen, when fog moves in, the lower part of the fog freezes, and it creates crystals on everything. Not to be confused with White Castle on everything.
I've probably seen it. Yeah, they're closed, aren't they?
Black ice. I know you've heard of black ice.
Sure.
Right? Okay. So that's something that only happens in winter. Grapple. Have you ever heard of grapple?
Nope. Sounds like a potato chip.
I never heard of any. Oh, I heard of black ice. Okay, I heard of that one. Okay. Grapple is soft hail. Soft hail is grapple.
Isn't that just called snow?
I would have called it snow, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know.
sleet,
I would-
maybe?
All right. Hoarfrost. Have you ever heard of... I'm not making it up. Have you ever heard of hoarfrost, Galen?
I mean, yeah,
You have.
but that was no, I haven't. There's a sailor joke in there, but I'm not going to share that.
There has to be something.
Hoarfrost. Are you ready for this? This is when moisture in the air turns into ice crystals that lightly coat an object.
Okay.
You got to look it up. Hoarfrost.
I've probably seen it.
Let me ask
How do you
Sarah.
spell that? Is it there a W?
No, H-O-A-R.
Oh, okay. Can't wait till series.
Hey Siri, what is hoarfrost? Let's see what she says.
Here's what I
She
found.
works in the corner of
Here's what-
Broccoli and First.
Here's what I found. Here's what I found, is all she said. Here's what I found. All right, so hoarfrost. And then there's frostquake. That sounds like a cereal. Frostquake. By
Sounds like a
Kellogg's.
methane.
Yeah, I should have saved the methane one for last. Let's see. Frozen parts breaking underground that make the sounds heard above ground.
Oh,
That's a frostquake.
gosh.
And then there's the frost flower. It's a continuous process of water vapor leaving and freezing, producing the flower-like structure.
Oh, my.
If you try to pick it up, it'll melt in your hand. It's so fragile.
Oh, my gosh.
And then there's the fern, F-I-R-N.
Okay.
The fern is caused when last year's snow hasn't completely melted, And this year's snow pushes up against it. That's called a fern.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's crunchies.
You got to live someplace really cold if last year's snow hasn't melted yet.
That sounds terrible, doesn't it?
I don't know where that is, but that's those people are praying for global warming.
Yeah. Does it snow at the North Pole and at the South Pole, or is it just like all just ice?
Galen?
What do you think?
What do you think, Galen?
Yeah, I don't know. No idea. You know me. I don't like weather.
Yeah.
Really?
You don't like cold. I know you.
No, I don't like weather. I don't like weather people. I don't watch the weather on TV. All they're doing is, it's a rivalry that goes way back. So I'm not a weather guy.
I remember that story. But you gotta check out the Spanish weather girl on the Spanish channel.
Well, that's not really watching the weather, is it?
It is. If your wife walks in the room,
it's like
is.
going into Victoria's Secret without going into Victoria's Secret.
All right.
I mean,
all right. Just imagine that you're watching with the weather girl on the Spanish channel, and your wife's coming in and say, "What's Galen doing watching the Spanish channel?" And then she says to you, "What are you watching?" And you go, "The weather."
No, I tell them I'm learning Spanish. I mean, that's a much better answer.
Yeah.
I'd rather get caught watching the weather girl than saying I was watching the weather. That's how I feel about it.
Oh my gosh! All right, hey.
It's right up there with watching the leaves grow, or agro. What do they call it? Agro-tourism.
Agri.
That's the same.
Not agro.
Agri. Yeah, that's the same thing. Literally watching plants grow.
That's right.
Yeah.
We do every day here at the mall.
Oh my gosh! All right, Galen, where's the Bloodmobile today?
Hey, Bloodmobile today. We're at Pearson Nissan, and we're also at Mestitos. I don't know how to say that. How do you say it? The old Golden Flake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know how you say it. No, I don't either.
Mestizos. I think. Yeah, I think it's mestizos.
Mestitos, something like that.
Yeah. Cool. Opportunities to donate to parts of this.
If it gets cold later on tonight, just say, "I just hope we don't get any hoarfrost."
I hate this. I hate this weather.
All right.
Well,
Hey, be careful. Thank you for what you do. I mean, considering how the whole country is asking for donations of blood, just thank you for what you do, Galen. You make us proud. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. 2 days in a row with things that I don't like. Canadian drivers and weather. Wow. You're pushing all my buttons.
All right, Galen. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, sounds great.
Right.
Thanks, you guys, for everything.
We'll be right back.
Bye, all.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. A Senate resolution calling on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to send articles of impeachment to the Senate so a trial can start is being introduced today by South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham. He tells Fox,
"If you believe it to be urgent, send it to the Senate for disposition. She's losing Democrats in the Senate. The impeachment dam of Nancy Pelosi is about to crack."
She has said she wants rules for a trial agreed to first. An initial report from Iran says the crew of a Ukrainian Airlines jet never called for help and was trying to turn back to the airport when it went down.
All 176 people on board were killed. The report also says the black box flight recorders have been recovered, but are damaged. Ukraine is declining to rule out the possibility of a missile strike. President Volodymyr Zelensky saying he expects Iran to include Ukrainian experts in the investigation.
Fox's Simon Owen. America's listening to Fox News.
When Allstate agents and employees go to work every day, their number one priority is protecting what matters most to you. For military veterans, that instinct to protect also comes naturally. No wonder thousands of veterans build good careers with Allstate. And now, Allstate is ranked the number one employer on the 2020 Military-Friendly Employers list. You're in good hands with Allstate.
For career opportunities or to get a quote, contact Allstate today. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Reinventing yourself in the new year is hard, but giving your home an upgrade is easy, thanks to Blinds.com. From cellular shades to wood blinds to Roman shades and more. Go to Blinds.com now through January 14th and save up to 40%. Plus get an extra $20 off with promo code LIGHT. That's up to 40% off. Plus get an extra $20 off with promo code LIGHT. Blinds.com, promo code LIGHT. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Here is your one-minute news brief. The search is on for a new Ocala city manager to replace the now former city manager, John Zobler. The council will search internally. A 60-year-old Ocala man was arrested on the felony charge of exploiting an elderly person after he spent well over $100,000 of an 84-year-old woman's money on himself. A West Palm Beach man was sentenced yesterday to 15 years in prison for a shooting and a crash that left 3 people dead. Top Carnival Corporation executives told a skeptical federal judge yesterday that progress is being made to curb the cruise line's chronic ocean pollution problems. A 69-year-old Pasco County middle school teacher resigned from his job after child porn was found on his laptop. Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy from Orlando is holding an essay writing contest for high school students, and the winner will be her guest at President Trump's State of the Union address next month. And the Holy Land Experience theme park will be ending its stage shows as it shifts focus away from entertainment. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Breezy this afternoon with clouds and sunshine, high 73 to 76. Tonight turning out clear with a warm breeze, low 66. Tomorrow partly sunny and warm with a passing shower, breezy in the afternoon, high 77 to 81. Saturday cloudy, breezy and very warm, high 80 to 84. Sunday very warm with clouds and sunshine, high 80 to 84. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Brian May.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Enter a world of battling knights, dancing gypsies, and mystifying magicians during the 34th Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 18th and 19th, 26th and 27th, and January 31st through February 2nd. Cheer on royal knights as they joust for their lady's honor, then wander through the marketplace where hundreds of artisans sell their medieval wares. Information at hogtownfair.com. Come one, come all to the Hogtown Medieval Fair, funded in part by Visit Gainesville, Alachua County.
Direct Connect to UCF, where students who attend the College of Central Florida and graduate with an AA or articulated AS degree are guaranteed admission to the University of Central Florida. Success coaches are ready and waiting to assist you in designing an educational plan that is right for you in any of their locations across Central Florida. Remember, connecting is easy and guaranteed. Find out more at directconnecttoucf.com.
Justice League Estate Sales. With great customer service in a time of need, liquidating a home and vehicle is hard enough. Let the Justice League Estate Sales family-owned team help. They have highly trained appraisers available to work with you. The Justice League Estate Sales name was inspired by a boy named Justice and the Autism Awareness Organization. Please visit www.justiceleagueestatesales.com for upcoming sales. And tune in every Tuesday at 11:20 a.m. on WOCA and learn how the team can help you. Don't miss an afternoon with Mitch Albom, New York Times best-selling author. Join Mitch January 14th at 2 p.m. in the Klein Conference Center on the College of Central Florida campus. Hear him speak in person and receive his new book, Finding Chica, a story about a little girl, an earthquake, and the making of a family. Tickets are only $35 and include a copy of his book, along with the opportunity to have it signed by Mitch. All proceeds benefit Hospice of Marion County. Buy your tickets online at hospiceofmarioncounty.com. Call Cindy Moody, 352-291-5143 for more information.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 24 minutes before 9 o'clock. It's time for News Bites. This is when we read the news, keep our opinions to ourselves. We don't try to be entertaining. We do tell you where we're getting the story from, but we don't read the whole story. And that way you can read the whole thing for yourself by going to the website that we identify. Your radio is your best tool for catching up on the news right now, because we are about to read between 25 and 30 stories, and it costs you nothing. Just a little bit of pay some attention, that's all. You're not going to pay money, just pay attention. All right, let's start with this first story from the Associated Press. The standoff over President Donald Trump's impeachment trial deepened as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said there will be no haggling with the Democrats as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi demands for more details and witnesses. McConnell's Senate majority has the leverage Republicans need to launch Trump's trial toward swift acquittal of the charges, but Pelosi's reluctance to transmit the articles of impeachment leaves the proceedings at a standstill.
A 15-year-old Georgia girl died and her sister and mother were injured when their car crashed into pine trees on the side of I-75 in North Florida on Tuesday. A trooper clocked the vehicle driven by Cinceria Cook, age 34, of Atlanta, at 103 miles per hour as it headed north on I-75. The trooper began to follow the vehicle, which was passing cars on the shoulder and driving recklessly. An incident report said the driver abruptly exited the interstate before returning to it. The driver refused to stop for either marked patrol car. The driver tried to leave the interstate again but lost control of the vehicle and then slammed into several pine trees on the shoulder of the road. And Yeehaw Bynes of Atlanta died at the scene. Her mother was taken to a hospital in serious condition. The woman's other daughter, Slexia, age 17, suffered minor injuries, reported by the Associated Press.
From Newsmax.com, CIA Director Gina Haspel foresaw the Iranian missile attack on 2 Iraqi military bases housing U.S. troops, but said that killing Iranian General Qasem Soleimani was worth the risk. New York Times published a detailed look at the hours leading up to Wednesday's strike, in which Iran fired more than a dozen ballistic missiles toward targets in Iraq. No one was hurt or killed in the incident, which U.S. officials believe was a result of intelligence received before the strike took place. According to the Times, Haspel told President Trump days before Soleimani was killed in a U.S. drone strike last week that taking him out and dealing with the expected retaliation from Iran posed a lower threat than leaving him alive to plot more attacks against the U.S. and its allies. What's more, Haspel said that Iran would likely respond to Soleimani's killing by sending a barrage of missiles at Iraqi military bases, which is exactly what happened Tuesday night.
A Florida man pled guilty to his part in a trafficking scheme in which live water monitor lizards were stuffed into socks and concealed inside electronics to be smuggled from the Philippines to the United States. Akbar Akram, age 44, pled guilty in Tampa federal court yesterday to 1 count of wildlife trafficking in violation of the Lacey Act and the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species Treaty, reported by the Associated Press.
From CNN, after battling 2 separate bouts with cancer in 2019, Supreme Court Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg enters 2020 cancer-free. She said in an exclusive interview this week. She said, "I'm cancer-free." She is 86 years old. She is the longest-serving liberal justice on the court. She made that statement on CNN on Tuesday. RBG, also, which is what we call Ruth Bader Ginsburg, recovered from lung cancer surgery early last year and received treatment for pancreatic cancer this summer. Despite both ailments and her advanced age, she has continued to serve on the Supreme Court.
A sea turtle whose left flipper was amputated due to an infection has been released back into the Atlantic Ocean in Florida. The green turtle, named Endor, had spent months rehabilitating and living in the Florida Aquarium in Tampa before being released on Tuesday in Wilbur by the Sea on Florida's east coast. The turtle was taken to Tampa April the 1st with 6 other turtles who had endured cold stunning, which is similar to hypothermia and causes low blood circulation, pneumonia, decreased heart rate, and exhaustion. Endor's flipper was infected, and after treating it with antibiotics, doctors decided to amputate. Endor grew from 3.24 pounds to 13.67 pounds during his rehabilitation program. In case Endor gets washed up on shore or gets injured, aquarium biologists tagged Endor so other others can have access to his medical condition and his history, reported by the Associated Press.
From the Axios News Agency, U.S. Chamber of Commerce CEO Tom Donahue is slated to call for bipartisan discussions on issues such as climate change and infrastructure today, according to a new report. Donahue will urge lawmakers from both sides of the aisle to come together and pass 35 bipartisan bills that can help address climate change through innovation and investment. Inaction is not an option, he is expected to say during the speech. So let's flip the conventional wisdom that nothing gets done in an election year. Donahue's comments will also mention immigration reform. The Chamber of Commerce is the largest lobbying group in the United States and has historically supported Republicans, but the group has clashed with President Donald Trump and therefore is steering clear of supporting congressional Republicans in November's elections.
President Trump has approved an emergency declaration for Puerto Rico following several earthquakes since December 28th. A 5.8 magnitude quake hit Puerto Rico before dawn on Monday. It unleashed small landslides that caused power outages and severely cracked homes. The strongest quake to hit on Tuesday as a 6.4 magnitude earthquake that rattled the U.S. territory the day after the first one. The island is still feeling aftershocks from both, reported by Spectrum News.
Let's see, this one is from the Bloomberg News Agency. The Boeing company jet that crashed near Tehran on Wednesday tried to turn back after takeoff, Iran revealed in an initial report, as Ukraine said it's examining scenarios including a missile strike and terrorism. Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 disappeared from radar screens at 8,000 feet, and witnesses said they saw it on fire in the air, according to the report. The flight data and cockpit voice recorders were damaged, but their core memory appears to be accessible. The findings are the first officially released from a probe set to be fraught with difficulty amid heightened tensions between the U.S. and Iran. Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council added to confusion around the crash this morning, saying it's looking at whether the jet was downed by a missile or a bomb after Iran had insisted it fell, victim to a technical failure or engine fire.
A battle playing out in a tiny Oregon town with no stoplights or cell phone service is pitting residents against one of the world's biggest tech companies. Locals in coastal Tierra del Mar are trying to stop Facebook from using property in their quiet community to build a landing spot for an ultra-high-speed undersea cable connecting America with Asia. Locals say vibrations from drilling to bring the submarine cable ashore in this village of some 200 houses might damage home foundations and septic systems, reported by the Associated Press.
From Bloomberg News, the average U.S. household is paying an annual surtax of more than $3,000 to subsidize taxpayers who are not paying all that they owe. A new report from the Taxpayer Advocate Service found reduced funding for the Internal Revenue Service has led to lower staffing levels and fewer audits, which has reduced the amount the IRS has been able to collect from taxpayers voluntarily or through enforcement. The Taxpayer Advocate, an independent branch of the IRS, said in its annual report to Congress yesterday. The IRS recently estimated the tax gap, the difference between what the federal government is owed and actually collects, averaged at $381 billion in unpaid tax from 2011 through 2013. That equates to roughly 14.2% of taxes never being submitted to the agency.
The newly elected treasurer of a small city in western Pennsylvania asserted in a lawsuit yesterday that city officials plotted to block her from taking office because she is black. Uniontown Treasurer-elect Antoinette Hodge alleged that a city councilman, Martin Gaddy, took action to prevent her from being sworn in as scheduled this week and called her a colored girl in a discussion with officials at a bonding agency. Gaddy, a defendant in the lawsuit, has adamantly denied using racist language, saying at a council meeting on Monday that he had legitimate questions about Hodge's financial background, reported by the Associated Press.
Also from the Associated Press, Facebook has decided not to limit how political ads can be targeted to specific groups of people, as its main digital ad rival Google did in November to fight misinformation. Neither will it ban political ads outright, as Twitter did last October, and it still won't fact-check them as it's faced pressure to do. Instead, it is announcing much more limited transparency features that aim to give users slightly more control over how many political ads they see and how to make its online library of political ads easier to use.
A Colorado sheriff yesterday rescinded his call for people to be on the lookout for a command vehicle that may be operating mysterious groups of drones spotted in recent weeks over northeastern Colorado and western Nebraska. However, a person who was at Monday's closed-door meeting between law enforcement and government officials attended by Sheriff Thomas Elliott said authorities were never looking for such a vehicle. Nobody has claimed responsibility for the mysterious nighttime flights of groups of 6 to 10 drones in a grid-like pattern since December, reported by the Associated Press.
We will take a little break and we'll be right back.
Medical providers are special, and to look special, they go to Scrub Paradise in Ocala. Located off Easy Street next to Shoe Carnival, Scrub Paradise has a wide selection of top brand scrubs, medical shoes, and accessories. Embroidery is also available. Don't settle for the same boring scrubs. Visit Scrub Paradise today or call 352-873-4368. Your favorite brands are on sale. 352-873-4368. That number again is 352-873-4368.
Visit Southeastern Trailers today. We have new and used enclosed cargo and open utility trailers, along with built-to-order trailers. We service all brands of cargo and utility trailers, installation of hitches, wiring and electric brake controls, and installation of trailer accessories, with locations in Ocala and Ormond Beach to serve all of Central Florida. Call 1-888-622-1816. Again, that's 1-888-622-1816.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Enter a world of battling knights, dancing gypsies, and mystifying magicians during the 34th Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 18th and 19th, 26th and 27th, and January 31st through February 2nd. Cheer on royal knights as they joust for their lady's honor. Then wander through the marketplace where hundreds of artisans sell their medieval wares. Information at hogtownfair.com. Come one, come all to the Hogtown Medieval Fair, funded in part by Visit Gainesville, Alachua County.
Folks, if you've not seen it, you owe yourself a visit. I'm talking about the Camellia Show Spectacular going on right now at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. The conditions have been perfect, and that means there are hundreds of trees, many of them 50 years old, all over this 5.5-acre garden, bursting in multicolored bloom. There are rare and exotic camellias, many you've never seen anywhere before. Come see this show. It's free. Bring the family, friends, your out-of-town guests. It's going on right now, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, Saturdays till 3. Bob's Place is on Southeast 38th Street, just east of Lake Weir Avenue in Southeast Ocala and away from all the traffic. Mark it down. This week for sure, the Camellia Show Spectacular at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. Do not miss it. In the same blooming place since 1952.
10 minutes before 9 o'clock, let's return to News Bites. The next story is from Bloomberg News. Apple Incorporated bagged a significant smartphone shipment jump in China last month as the world's largest consumer electronics market heads into its holiday season, official data indicates. The iPhone maker's shipments in China grew 18.7% year-on-year in December to roughly 3.18 million units, according to Bloomberg calculations based on government data on overall and Android device shipments. The increase marked an acceleration from the prior months, which were buoyed by the iPhone 11's release in September. The numbers come from the China Academy of Information and Communication Technology, a government think tank.
With a brass band playing and a parade of workers sporting Mardi Gras beads, a huge component of a new rocket system was wheeled slowly from a New Orleans spacecraft factory yesterday to a barge that will float it up the Mississippi River for testing. The recently completed completed core stage of NASA's Space Launch System, which dwarfed the hundreds of NASA and Boeing employees, was to be taken to the Stennis Space Center in Mississippi, about 50 miles northeast of New Orleans. Space Launch System rockets are expected to eventually take astronauts to the moon as part of NASA's Artemis program. The core stage measures 212 feet from end to end and more than 27 feet in diameter, reported by the Associated Press.
From AccuWeather.com, when the smoke cleared, little was left intact. It was almost as if a town had never existed there. Some broken china and a tabernacle survived the inferno, and so did a Bible. The good book was charred by the flames and petrified by the intense heat, but found intact and open to Psalms 106 and 107, which says, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever." The beginning of Psalm 106 and 107 reads, a haunting declaration that may seem to contradict the tragedy that unfolded one fateful night in northeastern Wisconsin, but serves as a reminder of a dark chapter in American history almost 150 years ago, the country's deadliest fire. On the night of October 8, 1871, a rapidly approaching fire engulfed the small town of Peshtigo, Wisconsin, a lumber boomtown in America's Dairyland. The blaze tore through the town at an astonishing pace, spreading hellish flames and plumes of thick smoke. According to historic accounts, horrific sounds filled the air under an ominous orange sky that night as chaos ensued. In the span of about 1 hour, the fire incinerated anything and everything in its path, including numerous settlements and villages.
A wallet lost by an Ohio sheriff during a hike 12 years ago was found and returned by a pair of siblings who went wandering in the woods. The Butler County Sheriff's Office said Chad Oberholzer told officials that his children, ages 7 and 9, had gone into the woods in their neighborhood for a half hour, survived the wilderness challenge. He said the children, Brooke and Drew, came home with a wallet that contained Sheriff Richard K. Jones's old badge, ID, and other documents. Jones said he lost the wallet during a hike in the same area about 12 to 15 years earlier, reported by UPI.
From USA Today, the House will vote today on a measure that would limit President Donald Trump's ability to wage war with Iran. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Trump's action last week authorizing a drone strike that killed top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani was provocative and disproportionate and done without consulting Congress. But even if the measure passes the House, which is controlled by Democrats, it will face hurdles in the GOP-controlled Senate, and Trump can veto the measure, as he did last year when Congress tried to end the American military role in Yemen.
A judge has ordered Google to turn over a year's worth of Jussie Smollett's emails, private messages, photographs, and location data to a special prosecutor who is looking into why prosecutors abruptly dismissed criminal charges against the actor, reported by the Associated Press.
From WCJB TV 20, the search is on for a new Ocala city manager. In December, the now former city manager, John Zobler, sent a letter to city council members stating that he will retire in January. At Tuesday night's city council meeting, the council decided to conduct the search internally, and if no qualified candidates apply, they will expand the search. The city's Human Resources Department posted the job listing yesterday for current employees to apply. The job listing will be posted until January 24th. Candidates will then be interviewed by council members to determine if they are the right fit for the position. Deputy City Manager Sandra Wilson is serving until the seat is filled.
A $1 billion investment last year is yet to curtail California's growing homeless crises, and with the state awash in revenue, Governor Gavin Newsom wants to spend $1 billion more on programs aimed at getting people off of the streets. He signed an executive order yesterday creating what he intends to be a $750 million fund that providers could tap to pay rents, fund affordable housing, aid boarding and care homes, use vacant state property to house homeless people, and he also is seeking changes to the state's Medicaid program to increase spending on preventative health care, reported by the Associated Press.
The Star Banner is reporting that a 60-year-old Ocala man was arrested Tuesday on the felony charge of exploiting an elderly person. The report states that a detective found that Leonard Chiasson had spent well over $100,000 of an 84-year-old woman's money on things for himself. Those things included a house in Palm Cay, a pricey dinner at a steakhouse, bar tabs, and fireworks. Chiasson was taken into custody by Marion County Sheriff's Detective Frank Scala. Chiasson told Detective Galen that he became friends with the woman about 3 years ago, and she asked him to move in with her, and that she agreed to grant him power of attorney because of her memory loss. Chiasson told Detective Scala he used $45,000 of the woman's money to purchase a home where his wife lives. A bank employee reported the possible exploitation case after noting suspicious activity on her account.
A federal judge yesterday pressed a government lawyer to explain why President Donald Trump signed an executive order allowing state and local governments to reject refugees, questioning whether the change was politically motivated. During a hearing on the request, the judge said the president's order essentially changed a federal law governing the resettlement of refugees. U.S. District Judge Peter Massett said the 1980 Refugee Act gives the president ample authority to make such a change, reported by the Associated Press.
From the Florida News Network, a Florida man was sentenced yesterday to 15 years in prison for a shooting and a crash that left 3 people dead. Palm Beach County Circuit Judge Cheryl Caracuzo sentenced 21-year-old Derek Jupiter after he pleaded guilty to lesser charges of second-degree murder for the shooting and manslaughter for the crash, according to the Palm Beach Post. He had been facing 3 counts of first-degree murder and a mandatory life sentence. Jupiter was driving an SUV through suburban West Palm Beach in February 2018 when he and his passengers, identified as 20-year-old Jerry Dunoir and 17-year-old Deandra Jean Lewis, pursued a car driven by 21-year-old Chauncey Christian. Both Jean Lewis and Dunoir fired guns at Christian's car. The shooting and chase had started at St. Andrew's apartment complex. According to the report, after Christian was fatally wounded, Jupiter attempted to flee at speeds of 100 miles per hour and then crashed into a tractor trailer, killing Jean Lewis and Dunoir.
For Tommy Fisher, a federal court hearing set for today next to the U.S.-Mexico border could result in his company getting a chance to prove it can build President Donald Trump's signature border wall faster and better than the government. For environmentalists and some landowners in South Texas, the hearing could clear the way for a project that they say could cause flooding and destroy their property, reported by the Associated Press.
From the Florida News Network, the Holy Land Experience will be scaling back on some of its offerings. The Bible-focused attraction will be ending its stage shows as it shifts focus away from entertainment. Parent company Trinity Broadcasting Network announced yesterday the change will take effect April 19th. Holy Land Experience will focus on the Biblical Museum and the highlighting of Christianity's global development in an attempt to get the attraction back to its original plan and function.
Harvey Weinstein's lawyers asked the judge in his New York City rape case to step aside yesterday after he threatened to jail the disgraced movie mogul for texting in the courtroom, reported by the Associated Press.
And from USA Today, while Duchess Kate celebrates her 38th birthday today, royal fans are eagerly waiting to learn more about Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan's stunning decision to step down from their senior royal roles. The couple, who also confirmed that they intend to split their time between North America and the United Kingdom, also said they're working on becoming financially independent. After their announcement came a palace statement suggesting that some in the royal family were not amused. A statement said, quote, "We understand their desire to take a different approach, but these are complicated issues that will take time to work through." That's all the time we have for News Bites. We need to make room for Veterans News. How many stories today, Robin?
30.
This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The House today considers a resolution calling for congressional approval for any further military action in Iran. It has some Republican support in the Senate. But Vice President Pence says about the drone strike on a top Iranian general.
Thanks to the president's leadership, thanks to the extraordinary work of our military in the region, the world is safer today, and American personnel in the region and America are safer too.
He was on Fox and Friends. A plan to get people off the streets in California.
Governor Gavin Newsom says he will ask lawmakers to put $1.4 billion in this year's budget toward addressing homelessness. The money would go to local organizations that work on housing and health care services. The California Legislative Analyst's Office has said that between 1980 and 2010, an additional 3 million housing units should have been built in the state to keep housing costs increasing in line with the rest of the country.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal in Los Angeles. America's listening to Fox News.
When Allstate agents and employees go to work every day, their number one priority is protecting what matters most to you. For military veterans, that instinct to protect also comes naturally. No wonder thousands of veterans build good careers with Allstate. And now, Allstate is ranked the #1 employer on the 2020 Military-Friendly Employers list. You're in good hands with Allstate.
For career opportunities or to get a quote, contact Allstate today. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Reinventing yourself in the new year is hard, but giving your home an upgrade is easy, thanks to Blinds.com. From cellular shades to wood blinds to Roman shades and more. Go to Blinds.com now through January 14th and save up to 40%, plus get an extra $20 off with promo code LIGHT. That's up to 40% off, plus get an extra $20 off with promo code LIGHT. Blinds.com, promo code LIGHT. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. The search is on for a new Ocala city manager to replace the now former city manager, John Zobler. The council will search internally. A 60-year-old Ocala man was arrested on the felony charge of exploiting an elderly person after he spent well over $100,000 of an 84-year-old woman's money on himself. A West Palm Beach man was sentenced yesterday to 15 years in prison for a shooting and a crash that left 3 people dead. Top Carnival Corporation executives told a skeptical federal judge yesterday that progress is being made to curb the cruise line's chronic ocean pollution problems. A 69-year-old Pasco County middle school teacher resigned from his job after child porn was found on his laptop. Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy from Orlando is holding an essay writing contest for high school students, and the winner will be her guest at President Trump's State of the Union address next month. And the Holy Land Experience theme park will be ending its stage shows as it shifts focus away from entertainment. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Breezy this afternoon with clouds and sunshine, high 73 to 76. Tonight turning out clear with a warm breeze, low 66. Tomorrow partly sunny and warm with a passing shower, breezy in the afternoon, high 77 to 81. Saturday cloudy, breezy and very warm, high 80 to 84. Sunday very warm with clouds and sunshine, high 80 to 84. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Brian May.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Enter a world of battling knights, dancing gypsies, and mystifying magicians during the 34th Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 18th and 19th, 26th and 27th, and January 31st through February 2nd. Cheer on royal knights as they joust for the